Welcome to CS History Anon. Today, we're diving into one of the most dramatic and iconic clashes of the Crimean War, the Battle of Balaclava. The morning of October 25th, 1854, dawned cold and misty over the windswept Crimean plains. Near the port town of Balaclava, nestled along the Black Sea, an uneasy silence hung in the air. The British, French, and Ottoman allies had encamped here for weeks, maintaining supply lines for their siege of Sevastopol, the prized stronghold of the Russian Empire. Little did they know, this day would etch itself into the annals of military history, not for victory, but for valor and calamity. Balaclava's strategic importance was clear to all. The Russians, led by General Liprandi, sought to sever the Allies' lifeline by capturing the heights above the town and driving them back to the sea. Before dawn, 25,000 Russian soldiers surged from the hills, descending upon the vulnerable Ottoman redoubts guarding the causeway heights. These 6 gun emplacements were manned primarily by poorly trained Turkish troops who were no match for the Russian onslaught. The redoubts fell quickly, leaving the British supply road exposed. Yet standing between the Russians and total domination of the battlefield were the thin lines of the British army, their fabled discipline about to face its sternest test. In the plains below the heights, the British 93rd Highland Regiment under the unflappable Sir Colin Campbell faced an advancing tide of Russian cavalry. Outnumbered 5-1, Campbell's men formed a thin, 2-rank line rather than the traditional square formation. With a cry of "There is no retreat from here," the Scots dug in. As Russian horsemen thundered closer, the Highlanders unleashed disciplined volleys of musket fire, breaking the charge and sending the enemy fleeing. This incredible stand became immortalized as the Thin Red Line, a symbol of unyielding defiance. Yet the battle was far from over. On another part of the field, chaos and miscommunication were brewing. The Russian cavalry regrouped and surged toward the British position. This time, it was the Heavy Brigade, 800 British cavalrymen under General James Scarlett, who answered the call. Against overwhelming odds, Scarlett led his armored horsemen directly into the heart of the Russian formation. The clash of sabers and the screams of men and horses filled the air as the British cavalry hacked their way through, scattering the Russians and turning their advance into a rout. For a moment, it seemed as though the Allies might wrest the day from Russian hands, but the bloodiest chapter was yet to come. As the Russians fell back, they began hauling away British artillery captured from the heights. British Commander Lord Raglan, observing from a distant hilltop, saw an opportunity to stop them and issued an ambiguous order. The cavalry was to advance rapidly to the front and prevent the enemy from carrying away the guns. The task fell to the Light Brigade, a force of 670 elite cavalrymen under the charismatic yet impulsive Lord Cardigan. However, due to confusion among commanders and misinterpretation of Raglan's order, the brigade charged not at the retreating Russian gunners, but straight into the mouth of a fortified valley lined with Russian artillery on 3 sides. The scene that followed was both glorious and tragic. With sabers drawn and banners flying, the Light Brigade advanced at full gallop into the Valley of Death, as poet Alfred Lord Tennyson would later immortalize it. Cannon fire erupted from the ridges, shredding men and horses alike. Yet the brigade pressed on, their discipline and bravery defying the storm of steel. Amazingly, the Light Brigade reached the Russian gun lines, cutting down the crews with ferocious resolve. But their triumph was fleeting. With no reinforcements and their numbers decimated, they were forced to retreat through the same murderous gauntlet. Of the 670 who rode into the valley, only 195 returned unscathed. The rest lay dead, wounded, or captured. By nightfall, the battlefield was quiet again. Balaclava remained in Allied hands, but the day had brought no decisive victory. The Russians had failed to cut off the supply lines, but the Allied forces had suffered heavy casualties and gained little. The charge of the Light Brigade, though a tactical disaster, became a symbol of courage in the face of impossible odds. Lord Cardigan and Lord Lucan, key figures in the miscommunication, blamed each other for the debacle, sparking a controversy that would haunt the British command. Meanwhile, the public in Britain, buoyed by Tennyson's stirring verses, saw the charge as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the British soldier. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.